Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I don't know why I'm so happy because there's some stuff coming out in your reading. There's some really good stuff. Do you want the good news or the bad news? It's one of those readings, Virgo. So I'm reading ahead for September and yeah, I don't know, there's something interesting happening about your reading. How it will apply to you, I don't know. I'm not trying to make anyone panic. I am getting some apocalypse messages. Virgo, like I'm laughing. If I didn't laugh, I'd cry. I am getting the feeling like something's coming, and it's something big. I was getting similar messages and similar energy before lockdown. However, I've also had messages like this, and it's turned out to be a big movie that everybody's watching. So for example, I channeled the whole movie Dune, Dune, before that came out, and then I went to watch it in the pictures, and I was like, yeah, this is what I've been channeling for the last week, like word for word, scene for scene, more or less. Not knowing anything about that movie before I watched it, other than it had a lot of sand in it because it was called June. Like that's basically the extent of my knowledge. I think I might have known there were sandworms, but that was it. So it could just be Good Omens too, you know, apocalypse type stuff. I don't know what it is, but the way it's coming through for you, Virgo, is I want to say, have you watched that film Don't Look Up? I think it's called, and it's about a comet that's coming to Earth, and a team of scientists who's trying to convince everybody that like, oh, this is a serious threat and we need to do something about it, and no one takes them seriously until it's too late. And then kind of like, you know, the people who have a big ego take over and make a big mess of it. You've got that kind of feeling, but it's kind of like at the same, you know, like the very last scene where they're all around the dinner table and it's really cozy, and they're with the family and they're with the friends, and it's like, you know, a good way to spend your last moments kind of thing. So again, I'm not anticipating, there's no death card here. There's the apocalypse, but there's no death card here. Why am I laughing so much at this? I just feel like it's one of those things where it's going to be obvious. Like, it happens all the time in readings. I'm like, oh my God, what am I channeling? What am I getting here? And it feels massive and scary. And then it turns out to be just something fine. And I am getting a lot of messages at the moment. Generally, it feels collective. So it may not even be personal to you, Virgo. Like, just wait, just wait. It's fine. It's going to be fine. I am actually getting messages that it's going to be fine. There's all this protection energy. I want to say especially protection from, I don't know if it's like angels or like ancestors on the other side. It's like forming these protective bubbles around people. You've even got it here, look. It's like even Cindy was getting it. Cindy had this reading where, like, I've been getting it for a while, but like Cindy had a reading yesterday where it felt like that. It felt like for her it was kind of like food resources, and people having to move because there was no more food and things like this. But and I've been getting like floods in my readings, but she was talking about this big dome over a city. And I am kind of getting that as well. I've had it in a few readings, the idea of like, I know it came through in Cancer, it was like forming this protective energetic bubble. And then you have this thing here about like the golden children, inner child tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. I'm almost getting this idea of like chosen ones, or it came through in one reading, it might have been Gemini's reading, about those who are operating on a high vibrational level are going to go like on the arc kind of thing. It's like there's certain people who are kind of like almost like marked to survive. This is the way it's coming through. It seems weird, it sounds weird, it seems weird, I don't know, right? But I want to say, if you come into the readings, you're probably one of the people who's going to be okay, right? That's kind of, I keep on just getting this repeated message, like you're safe, you're in, you're safe, it's fine. It's like the apocalypse is going to like blow right past you. You're not even going to notice. It's kind of making me think about you know, some people say that when we turned on CERN, you know, CERN, the big hadron collider, like when they did the first collision, that's when the world ended, and we're actually in a simulation, and we've been in simulation ever since. It's kind of like that thing. It's like you're not even going to notice. It's going to like, you're going to glitch onto a different timeline. It's going to pass you by. It's the way it's kind of coming through, because because you're retreating, because you're off the grid, or because you're connected to your network of, it's like your network of people are safe in this bubble is the way it's coming through. Okay. So what do I want to say next? Right, let me go to my notes. So before I even pulled any cards, your energy was coming through really, really nice. I was listening to that Take That song, A Million Love Songs. A million love songs later, here I am trying to tell you that I care. But I'm getting a lot of hostility from the other person who could be a Libra, because we've got this kind of energy popping up here that was in Leo's reading really strongly. It's almost like having to approach somebody who's angry with you. It's like, hi, like, I don't know, writing them a love song. It's like trying to, like, Cancer had this thing about, when a partner stays out too late and they get in trouble, and it's like, so then they show up with like chocolates and flowers and like love song. It's kind of like you have to come in kind of like really softly because that your partner's mad at you. It's got that kind of feel. But it's coming through as actually very love struck. Like you feel like you're in your feels. So I've even drawn like a little love heart. Like like when you doodle, I've drawn like a little love heart around the Virgo. So it's like when you're in high school and you write somebody's name and you draw like a little love heart around it. It's like, and then you try like their last name with your last name. I do wonder if somebody's like thinking of marriage, because you've got like in the underlying, drop that one. You've got the underlying priest, diamond, and arrow. So it's kind of like the arrow is kind of looking to me like love struck, like Cupid's arrow, and then like, or like going towards like choosing the direction. And then diamond and priest feels like a wedding ring, right? Like getting engaged, getting married. So if you think about that, like with the arrow being like pointing towards marriage, getting engaged is kind of like a promise to move towards getting married. So it could be something like that, but again, it's one of those things that I don't want to take that message too seriously. I want to kind of like say take it lightly, because I'm not saying you're getting married in September. I'm saying maybe you've got ideas about it, maybe it's being discussed, maybe you've met someone who's kind of like, you're doodling the little hearts around the name, like dreaming of like what could, like once upon a time kind of thing. But yeah, and there could be something about doodles as well. So I was getting kind of like, sometimes people animate like inanimate objects with like little googly eyes and like stick figure arms, and you get like, so if you're on like TikTok or you're watching YouTube shorts or even just scrolling through Facebook, you might see them from time to time. There used to be a TV show called Oodles, like doodles without the D. Doodles without the D. You want the big D, guys. I'm sorry, that happens sometimes in my readings. Like, let's get back on track. So it could be like, I'm just bringing the vibration level down again. We don't want to get too holier than that. We are in Virgo's reading, right? Virgo the Virgin. Like we don't want to be too perfect. We don't want to be on too high a pedestal. So yeah. Like the Virgos I know are not, they're not squeaky clean, guys. It's what I'm gonna say. They're not that virginal. Devils in disguise, Virgos, I swear to God. So right, anyway, back on track. So it could be that somebody's like an animator. It could be that somebody likes to doodle on things. So like maybe you like doodling googly eyes and kind of like stick my arms and legs on kind of like newspaper. You're reading a magazine, you kind of doodle away. It could be something like that. You could be some kind of like sketch artist. Take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. But doodles was coming through. It could be somebody's nickname as well, like Doodles, come on Doodles. Maybe it's like a dog's name. And then I was getting look at this stuff, which sounded like a line from The Little Mermaid, right? Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? So it's like you're going like, look at this stuff, like, isn't it neat? I just think it's neat. So it's giving me that Marge Simpson meme, and Marge Simpson feels very Virgo to me. I don't know why. She was giving Virgo vibes, but like, it's like there's this meme where she's going, I just think it's neat. And you can insert your own thing in there. It's like, I just think tarot cards are neat kind of thing. It's like so wholesome and sweet. And so you're coming through this really sweet energy, actually. It's like, it's almost like having some kind of like hobby or interest, and you're like, I just think it's neat. Like, it's my thing. It's my, everybody has their one thing that they kind of like geek out about. It's kind of like, you're kind of in love, it almost like childlike as well. It's coming through as like really kind of like high school kind of quite sweet, which is not like you Virgos. Like, don't, your dark horses, don't, you can't pull the wool over my eyes. No, I think there is a sweetness to Virgos. There is a sense in sincerity, I think, sincerity to Virgo energy. Like, normally you do have you get very, very squishy about the people that you care about. You know, you get, you can be kind of like Virgo, Libra, sorry, you can kind of like, and Pisces as well, you can sometimes overgive and overserve in relationships. Yeah, I feel like you're in your squishies, but it's feeling very Hallmark, like Hallmark cards or Hallmark movies. It's feeling very kind of like almost like perfect Instagram, like good vibes, but like it's your reality. It's weird. I don't trust it. I'm like, nobody's black wholesome. It's kind of like the Virgo convention. That is the only time you would ever get that amount of like preparation, attention to detail, like it's good vibes. Like, it would be a room full of Virgos, I swear. So it's kind of like, if you imagine like the perfect Christmas, like you rent a cabin in the woods, which is funny because this is what I was getting. I was kind of seeing like, there's like an Ed Sheeran song. I can't remember which one it is, but the music video is like they're at like a ski resort and he's like throwing snowballs and it's like wholesome. So it's kind of like wholesome, kind of very, yeah, just wholesome. It just feels very, and like family and friend orientated as well. So it's funny because I was already picking up on this and I was thinking to myself, it feels like, because you feel like you're planning, right? So whether it's like you're planning to get married or like you're planning on spending time with family, I'm getting this feeling of like planning to spend Christmas with your family and friends. Maybe renting a cabin, like with the people that you're closest to, and just retreating from the world and resting. It feels really good. And this is why I was saying, don't worry about the apocalypse. It's going to pass you by, right? It's funny because I work with a Virgo, and sometimes we have these like mad conversations in work and we're kind of like, what would you do if the apocalypse happened? And so like their plan is to get a cabin in the woods and like go completely off the grid and like just get away from everything and just kind of like live on natural resources, like away from general society. And they're like, that's what I'm doing. And yeah, so it has that feeling. It's like they're making the plan to, I don't know, save money to get that cabin in the woods, or they're making a plan to have the vacation with the family at Christmas. Like, I'm saying it's you, right? Or maybe it's somebody that's got a crush on you. It's like they want to do something nice for you. And it's funny as well because this was the first card that came out, this jeweled web connectivity. It's right in the center of your reading, and immediately it looked to me like your network, right? The people closest to you, like the special people in your life. And then it's funny that it came out with the retreat card, with that spirit guardian of winter, when I was literally seeing, like I saw a Christmas tree. Like, look at my notes. So it says like Christmas trees, Hallmark, right? And so, yeah, I was seeing like just like a very wholesome Christmas movie, but it's what you're planning or what you're experiencing. So you're all good. Like, I don't know what's going on back in the city. I don't know what kind of chaos and rioting and looting is going on back in the city, but you're completely, it's almost like you're off the grid. You don't even know it's happening, which is what happened in Libra's August reading. It was like the tower moment's happening and you slept through it, right? You were on the boat. You didn't even know it was happening. So yeah, I want to say you're fine. I want to reassure you, you are fine. Whatever's happening, it's like you are, yeah, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through it. It feels like there's something happening that's almost like outside your awareness. It's really strange. So you could have gone through a phase, Virgo, of kind of being a bit, oh, hang on, what was the song that I just randomized for you before we get into your cards? Puppet on a String. Yeah, Puppet on a String. It was giving me like, you know how the song says, if you say you love me madly, I'd gladly be there like a puppet on a string. So it's kind of like really having very strong feelings for somebody. And again, it can be platonic, it can be family, it doesn't have to be romantic. But it's kind of like, I heard dog and I heard beck and call. It's kind of like that idea of like, and I don't mean it derogatory, I mean it in a complimentary way. It's kind of like wanting to be of service to the people that you love, which is what, to me, Virgo is all about. It's like wanting to be useful to your friends, wanting to be useful to your family. It's very, very Virgo. Um, so it's it's like lost compass, getting back to integrity is your first card. And this is surrounded by like, let me show you these. So it's like this, right? With energy, lost compass, and empty well, time to replenish. Now these two did come out of the same deck and they came out next to each other like this when I originally shuffled. I did put everything in separately and they've reorganized themselves and gone back next to each other, and I think it's because there's something in the imagery here. When I first saw this, it looked like a plug hole, right? It looked like pouring your energy down a plug hole. It's like you're wasting your energy. So I feel like you've been pouring your energy into something, but you've not been, it's kind of like you've not been working smarter. You've been working hard, but you've not been working smart, right? So I think you're recognizing that you've been it's like, because it's a drain, it's like you've been draining yourself, or something's been draining you, and you need to replenish, you need to rest. I want to say it's probably work. Again, it could be friends, family commitments that are taking advantage of you, but I just generally feeling like overdoing it. Kind of like burning the candle at both ends energy. Because you are, I say Virgos work hard, play hard, right? It's like all work and no play make Virgo a dull person. Yeah, I feel like maybe you've been working hard, playing hard, because it's like there's two colors. I'm kind of seeing like red, but there's also blue. So it's kind of like energy and emotions are being drained. And then so lost compass, getting back to integrity. I feel like you've kind of, especially because you've got arrow here as well, because arrow talks to me about a direct line towards your goals and your dreams. It's kind of like getting focused. So lost compass and empty well, it's like, I feel if these are coming out and it's telling you that you need to do this, it's an indicator that you haven't been, right? If you're getting back to integrity, it's like you've lost that. So I feel like you've gone a little bit like, almost like your compass has been spinning. Maybe you've been trying to run around going in lots of different directions. You know, you've been trying to people please, too many places, people and things. Virgo energy is terrible, especially like Virgo Mars. Terrible for taking on too many tasks. They're very, very good at multitasking, but it's kind of like straw that broke the camel's back energy. One extra yes when you should have said no will make the whole thing fall down. So and you burn out, right? So I always say to my Virgo friends, and like in my Virgo readings, like when you're doing your jobs list, put on self-care onto the jobs list. It's kind of that thing that they say about the airplane. You have to put your own mask on before you can put anyone else's mask on, because if you burn out, then you're not helping anyone, right? You're completely ineffective if you burn out. So it's kind of like you've got to, when you're doing your jobs list and you're like, okay, I've got to make dinner, I've got to run to the shop, I've got to pick the kids up from school, put on like 2 things, right? For every 3 things that you do that's for other people, or because it's a task that you have to do, put 1 thing on that list that's self-care and then do it. So it could be, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to take a long hot bath, I'm going to meditate, you know. So it's kind of like I've got to do A, B, C. D is my slot, that is my hour. So again, every D is my slot. Hey, that's what she said. So yeah, it's kind of like and like do it and take it just as seriously as all the other jobs. Don't, Virgos are terrible for kind of like putting themselves last, and you shouldn't do that, because like I say, you're not serving anyone if you burn out. Okay, so looking after yourself is part of looking after other people. So yeah, getting back to integrity, it's kind of like this compass reset. It's like this, it's a compass reset, but you also feel like you're redirecting your energy, because you've been putting your energy somewhere where it does feel like you've been pouring it down a drain. So, which is interesting. Like, look at this imagery as well. There's something about, like, look at all this compass type energy. So it could be something like a watch. I always think Virgo's always like fitness freaks and they love the gadgets. So maybe you've got like a smartwatch or a Fitbit or something like that. It's like you've got to like mess with the settings or reprogram it or something like that, or like reprogram the goals in it. You know, like a step counter, that kind of thing. And then even here as well, magical map shifter, she's got this compass on her chest. So the energy is changing, whether this is something that you're consciously aware of or not. I want to say because you've gone off kilter, because you've been, sorry, my kid's on a mission. Sorry, I'm just going to pause and just check this message. Hold on. Anything that happens in a reading is part of a reading. So my kid has sent me a picture of their leg. They're out with the friends today, and they said a huge dog has slobbered on my leg, and they've got like a massive wet patch on their pants, which I obviously made a joke about. But that could be something. You know, so maybe you've got a big dog, maybe a big dog's gonna slobber on you, maybe that means something to you. They're not impressed with my cheeky comment back at them. Okay, so if you're feeling perhaps like, it's like maybe you're feeling a little bit like the captain of the ship, but nobody else is helping out a little bit, or maybe you feel like you're running around trying to do, it's making me think of the octopus card in the Wild Unknown deck. Like maybe you're trying to run around multitasking, trying to do 20 things at once, and not really doing any of them effectively, and you're just thinking, God, I wish I had some help here, I wish I didn't have to do it alone. You have this card here, Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So you've got like these elephants here. Like there's just like, I don't know if any of these animals are symbolic to you. There's like a lion, an elephant, like eagles, and then this gorgeous like grandmother energy up here with these angel wings. So it's like call in your spiritual team for help. Like, and you know, they've got a load of time on their hands. Time and energy works differently on the other side, so you know they can be there in an instant and they'll help out. So it's like call on me. It's not call on me, it's take on me, but I'm hearing call on me. So maybe this is it's like call on me, call on me, call on me. I'm gonna make a note of both of them, but I'm hearing call on me, call on me. And because you've got that puppet on a string energy, it's like, and I'll be there like a puppet on a string, right? It's like just took, like, I don't know, is it you or is it them? Flip it and reverse it if needs be. The Andean cross as well. This idea of integrity with the Andean cross, there could be something as well that's symbolic for you of integrity, almost like a family crest or a signet ring, or oh, it's funny because I was thinking about my necklace in Leo's reading. Something I got off my my nana when she passed away that she always wore. I've got two cousins. She had three granddaughters. And she always wore 3 pieces of jewelry, so you got 1 piece of jewelry each. And what I got from her was it's kind of like the coat of arms of the Prince of Wales. It's a necklace because I'm not sure if it's because her dad was a police officer, or if it's because her husband was a royal engineer. But they got this, one of them got this necklace as like a thank you, like a symbolic, it is heraldry. So it's funny because I was talking about in Leo's reading, and yeah, and I kept on seeing my nana's necklace, and then it's something like that, because I'm seeing it again now. So it's kind of like, it could be a piece of jewelry, or like I say, coat of arms. I'm hearing badge of honor, and I'm seeing like a prefect badge, like maybe you were the prefect at school. So there's something about the honor, the honor of the weight that symbol carries in terms of like the like, because it's like that word veritas, and maybe this is something that's written on, you know, if this is like a coat of arms, maybe veritas is written on it, because veritas is like, it's kind of like truth, authenticity, and verified. So it's kind of like and it has that weight of kind of like people can vouch for you, like you're vouched for, you're proven. So it's a really strong word in Roman classical Roman language, classical Latin. And you see it a lot because it's such a powerful word that meant a lot to the Romans. I'm waffling, sorry. So energy. So with the energy and the magical map shifter, it's almost looking to me like, it is looking to me almost like a key, or a, you know, like an Allen key almost. It's like an Allen key. So I'm seeing it as like you put something in the, like you need a key to put in the, it is looking like an engineering thing. Like almost like if you ever had to use the kind of neighborhood plumbing taps, they don't have like a tap on it. They have like a big metal rod that they stick in it and turn it. It's like a big Allen key. So it's looking to me like that. It's like this, you're pouring your energy down the well. It's like it's looking to me like a pipe network, right? It's like the pipes are running in the wrong direction, so you need to kind of like put the key in the lock and like turn. It's making me think of like the locks and the canals now that I'm from Gemini's reading, and redirect it. Now what's funny is, because you definitely have this compass, Cancer had this thing about it's like latitude and longitude. It's like lining something up this way and that way. So it was looking like crosshairs to me, right? So lining something up, latitude and longitude. And then Leo's reading had east, right? So it was like, you need to move this far east. And then your reading has north. So again, it's got this idea of like redirection, like resetting the compass points. So it's kind of like going east as far as you can, and then, okay, how far north do we need to go? It's almost like, you know, like when you're doing maths, you do like the x-axis and then you do like the y-axis. Is that the right way around? It's like you go across and then you go up or something like that. Like, so it's like looking like map coordinates, but it's coming through in lots of different readings. It's making me think as well, like so I'm using video editing software at the moment, and you use the X and Y axis to kind of like, you can, you know, scale an image up, scale it down, and you can shift it up and down, like by using the X and Y coordinates. So it's something about this, maybe it's something to do, maybe you are looking at like the skies, right? Maybe you're looking at, it's like astronomy or something, you know, especially because I was talking about Don't Look Up, or whatever it is that film is called. It's like resetting the telescope. It's like this many degrees X and this many degrees Y. If you're doing that, if you're doing something with coordinates where you're trying to look at a specific point in the sky or a specific point on a map, I want to say, remember that you're meant to go, or double check, because I don't know what exactly it is that you're doing, but as far as I'm aware, you always go across. It's always horizontal and then vertical. So sometimes I help my kids with the maths, and some of the common mistakes are that children sometimes go, like, you get the coordinates, and sometimes children do it the wrong way around. They go vertical and then they go horizontal, which takes them to the wrong point of the chart, right? So it's kind of like, don't go to the wrong point of the map because you've mixed up your coordinates, or because you've got the map. It's kind of like you need to literally like turn the map because you're following the wrong. It's like north isn't pointing north, right? So I went on a school trip once with teaching children how to use a compass and how to use a map. And so the children were terrible at remembering. I mean, they were quite young, right? But it was really hard to get them to listen to this and put it into practice. They weren't getting it. So the idea of like, no, you need to, when you get the compass and you have that needle that points north, like, it's like they were getting the compass and they were like looking for north, and they were like, that way's north. And I was like, no, you need to line the needle, right, the right way. Don't get north and south mixed up. You need to line the needle up the right way and get it to point north. Like, you need to match the nut and the needle, right? And then that's north. Because they would just kind of go, the needle's pointing that way, or like the end's pointing that way. Oh, and then like they were doing like south, southwest and stuff, and they were just getting it all mixed up, because I was like, because you're not keeping. And then another thing they were doing, I don't know, maybe you've got like a kid who's doing scouts or something, so maybe this is something you need to know. Another thing they were doing is like they weren't keeping the damn thing flat. So they were going like, you know, they were trying to read the thing like this or like this. And I was like, it's not going to work. You have to keep it flat. So this energy here, right? The magical map shifter seems to be almost like the teacher. It's almost like how, you know, the me in the equation who was coming in and saying, have you tried doing it like this? Have you tried keeping that, because she's literally got like a little compass, right? It's like, have you tried synchronizing your watches? Have you tried holding the map flat? Have you tried, the compass flat? Have you tried turning the map? Does it match the landscape better if you turn it? So it feels like this is like the advisor, which is interesting because it's like Leo needed the advisor. They were going to the dragon's lair because they were looking for the Queen of Swords, and she was the one who was going to be able to shift the map, because it was coming through in Leo's reading, like this person who, and I'm dying to do Libra's reading because I just feel like Libra's got the answers. Let's go and ask the Libra. It's the way it's coming through. It makes me think again like somebody I work with who's a Libra, and they're so smart. Like they're so smart. And so yeah, it's like the Libra will know the answer. Let's go and ask the Libra, because Libra's logical. Libra looks at things on this kind of like schematic level. It doesn't have to be a Libra, right? It could just be it could be something to do with like Libra Mercury placement, like they communicate in that way, like they're very good at kind of like explaining these kind of things. Or it could even be like Aquarius, Gemini placements, but it's kind of like, because they'll tell us the truth, right? Because it's like, I was reading this as well, like getting back to integrity. It's like, no, we need to go back to the person who represents integrity. We need to go back to the Queen of Swords, because the Queen of Swords was integrity in Leo's reading. It's like, that's what she was representing. So like, let's go back and ask them. It's like, let's go back and ask teacher, and then the teacher twists the map, right? And then it's like, right, okay, we know which way we're going now. Fire, spirit, and energy. So this feels like the ancestor that's coming in to help, right? It feels like it's not you, it's the person who's available for you to call on me, right? To come in and give advice. Like they can see from a higher perspective is the way it's coming through. And they were coming through as an older lady. So again, this might be somebody in spirit who's passed on for you. So like a Libra grandmother, perhaps. It's like they're overseeing the children, right? Maybe it is a teacher. Maybe you've got like a Libra mother or a Libra grandmother who was a teacher. Like they're very good at kind of like keeping an eye on the kids. And the gentle gardener. Now, it's kind of funny that this is like a zoomed out version of the Field of Dreams from the Leo reading. It's just coming through like they're peeking through. They're peeking through, they're checking on them. Gentle gardener. Maybe you've got a Virgo. Maybe you're cross-watching this reading and you have like my Nana. My Nana was a Virgo, right? So this for me would be my Nana. It's like my Nana's keeping an eye on us, And she was great. She had... I say Virgos tend to have sustainer energy. It depends on the full chart. You could have like a Virgo sun, but the rest of the chart is like Gemini, Aries, Sagittarius chaos, right? It's like the messy, the disorganized, spontaneous. Like they are not grounded and they're terrible at sustaining things, right? Because they've got so much fire and air in the chart. But I tend to find Virgos usually, and people with strong Virgo in the chart, tend to be very good sustainers. Like they're the ones who keep things maintained. They're the ones who are going to change the oil in the car. They're the ones who are going to, do the meal prep. They're the ones who are going to, make sure all the household, like the gutters are cleaned and the drains are cleaned and there's firewood chopped, and it's like because they maintain things, because they sustain things, they sustain relationships, because we've got the jeweled web connectivity next. They sustain, like my Nana's house, I was so sad when it got sold because it never changed, and it was like this. And maybe this is the thing, maybe you're going to a house, like a grandparent's house, that just never changes. It's like as soon as you get there, it's so familiar, and it feels like home, right? Because it's so reliable. Because like my Nana's house, she like the wallpaper was from like the 70s or something. It was in like really good condition as well. Like her house never changed, and she just maintained it. It was like clean, it was neat. Until the end of her life, when she kind of got a little bit doolally, but she was like 90, I think. So she had a good run. And so yeah, like the reliability of Virgo energy is just really, really nice. And so when the map shifts, right? Like my nana's house was sold, the house changed. I walked past it recently, and it's the garage had been converted into like a sunroom. So I was like, gosh, they did that quick. But it's like when the map shifts, right? When things change, it can make us feel like we're facing the unknown, right? It's like, well, if that house isn't available to me to go to, then I've lost that familiarity, right? I've lost that resource. Or it's just like the map shifts. So the map shifts could be symbolic of any kind of change, like any kind of change that changes the availability of resources. And so Leo's reading kind of ended with them running out of resources and kind of being like, oh no, what do we do? But I want to say, here's the solution coming in your reading, right? Because you're practical, because you can sustain things. Leo's reading as well had a lot of stuff about kind of like plants and like terraforming an environment and ecosystems and things like this. Like the gentle gardener, the Virgo energy would be so good at doing that. It's kind of like, if everybody's worried about food, it'll be the Virgos going, right, we've bought a piece of land, like we're going to club together, all the Virgos are clubbing together, we're getting a piece of land, we're going to make an allotment. It's like it'll be the Virgos doing that. Like when we're facing the unknown. I'm just going to pause and check that message. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's you, Virgos, like dropping everything to be that. I mean, that is so Virgo. Like, I will drop everything to be there if you need me. Like, the friends, the family, the people care about. It's like, I will literally like cancel all my appointments and run to your house to tuck you in if that's what you need. It's very serving, but in a beautiful way, in a way that's like we must protect Virgo energy. Like, I love Virgos. Hard work, but they tire me out. Like me watching, like this is what happens to me if I watch a Virgo. I get tired by proximity to Virgos because I don't have those kind of energetic resources. I'm like, I'll just lay in bed and let you do it. Like I will get a random burst of energy and then that's it for like a month. Like we're built differently. Anyway, so retreat and connectivity. So the magical map shifter seems to be saying the situation is changing and we're redirecting you to the retreat. So it could be with this kind of like calling home energy. It does make me think a little bit of Gemini's reading, which had this kind of like, it was like the trumpets blown and everybody, like Gemini's assemble. It was like everybody being called to a meeting or everybody being called to a certain point. And then it felt like an evacuation point in Cancer's reading because they had it too. But for Cancer, it's kind of like it was their house. It was like the evacuation point was their house. All the friends and family were all coming to stay with Cancer if there was some kind of emergency. Like say people, making me think of my nana again. Like there was a flood once, and it flooded like really like shockingly close to her house, and she lived up a hill, and we were like, how was that bit flooded? It's a bit of a freak flood, that one. Yeah, it's something like that. It's like if you live in an area where it's not unlikely that a flood might happen, have a plan. Be like, right, well, Auntie Barbara lives halfway up the mountain, and she's got a really big house. The whole family can go there. We can hole up. She's got board games. She's got food. Like that's where we're gonna go. So it could be something similar to like that. Like the map shifts is like the situation changes. Like the situation changes, and you need to go here, right? So there could be a little bit of a moment of. With movement and into the unknown, it's like this feeling like I know I have to move, but I don't really know. I don't have a plan. I don't have a direction, kind of something like that. So again, movement, it could be something like I can see that I can see that I can't keep working at this job because I'm just getting so exhausted. I can't physically continue to do this for much longer, so I know I need to change job, but I don't know what my options are. I've not really planned it. So it could be something like an injury. Say for example you were a footballer, like your job was playing football. feet balls. Say your job was playing football and you hurt your Achilles tendon and you're like, I can't, like, I can't put weight on it, and I know that this is a long-term injury. I can't see myself being able to continue doing this job. I'm going to have to find something else to do, but maybe not being qualified, or just not knowing, not really having a, like, being like, well, what do I do now, right? It's like facing the unknown. But again, with retreat and connectivity, it's like going back home. So it could be like having some time off. Maybe like something happens and you just spend some time at home with your family, with your connections, right? But I think that could possibly give you a sense of, I mean, sometimes you need to rest. You need to kind of like think about it before you start something new. It could be something like layoffs as well. You know, that happens. It could be something like, you know, get the you know, the workplace is moving. The workplace is moving to a different city. Your job is secure if you also move to that city. But if you can't move to the city, I'm sorry, there's no work from home options. So we're going to have to let you go and give you redundancy pay. So it's kind of like the map shifts. Either you have to move home to a different city, perhaps, to a different country, perhaps, or you need to take redundancy. So it's kind of got the feeling of a forced change, like knowing that you can't keep putting your energy into something because it just feels like it's not an effective thing for you to be doing. So you know you have to shift direction. You know you have to move the arrow. So where are you going to go, right? What are you going to do? So yeah, like I say, it does feel like it feels like you need to go home. It feels like you need to go to the dragon's lair to seek answers. It's almost like going consulting the Wizard of Oz, right? It's like the Wizard of Oz will know. But it was coming through, like I say, I'm going to take what was in Leo's reading because it feels like a similar vibe, because obviously some people are on the cusp. Some people are like Leo, Virgo cusp. So I do get a little bit of crossover. And a lot of times as well, like what's happening for one person is affecting other zodiac signs. So, you know, if a Cancerian is going through something, you know, the signs around them are also going to be kind of saying, oh, what's up with Cancer? You know, it's like a lot of times we all experience the same kind of situations. So there is a lot of crossover in my reading. So I'm just going to kind of go with it. The Dragon's Lair in Leo's reading was like this Queen of Swords. It was coming through, I don't know if there is something about Wales, because it was coming through with Rhiannon, who there was a mythical Queen Rhiannon in Wales. It's funny I was talking about my Nana, right? My Nana keeps coming through in this set of readings. She made me cry. I did 2 readings for Leo, and the first one, I found myself talking about my Nana without realizing I was talking about my Nana. And it was coming through with a film, and it was a specific part of a film. It was Jewel of the Nile. So do you remember Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile? And I loved those movies. Like they were like comedy romance romps. I loved them. And Jewel of the Nile, there was this one scene where, I think it was Jewel of the Nile. There's this one scene where the female character gets up and she's kind of like dancing. I feel like she's dancing around like a campfire. And it's like she's getting involved with like the local people, and she's kind of joining in with this kind of like traditional dance. And it's like her wild side comes out, right? And she's really enjoying herself. And it was making me think of my Nana, because my Nana lived in Nigeria for a big part of her life, and she has such a wonderful time there. And so it was this whole extended thing. I don't need to go into it any more than that, but I was trying to think of her name, right, the actress's name, and I couldn't think of it. And then the character's name popped in my head, and it was Joan Wilder, and my grandma's name was Joan. My Nana's name was Joan. And then she's here again in your reading. It's like, my Nana's here, right? So it was, and it made me cry in Leo's first. I'm not putting the first reading up because it did get too personal, but it made me cry because I was talking about my Nana, and then I realized I was talking about this character who literally had my Nana's name, and I was like, it's my Nana, and I cried. And I'm talking about her here as well, like Wales, like Nana. I don't know. So anyway, the idea of Rhiannon, it was coming through with like Queen of Swords energy, which would typically be Libra, but it doesn't have to be Libra. It talks about someone who's very intelligent. They can be a little bit cut and dry, right? They can be a bit brutally honest. So it makes me think a little bit of my auntie as well, who's a Gemini actually. So again, another fellow air sign. You know, it's kind of like a say it as it is energy, but normally quite clever, normally quite good at kind of like thinking out of the box. And so it's coming through with like, you need to go and speak to this person. Like, you know, you need to go to the ice. It's like you need to go to Narnia. You need to go to the ice kingdom. You need to go and speak to Daenerys, right? It's kind of like the scary ice queen energy. And I want to say there's some trepidation there, right? Because she's a connection for you. So for some of you, it's literally just like cozy, like, I don't know, going seeing family at Christmas time. It's like, oh, well, I've just been made redundant. I guess my calendar's free. I'll go and spend Christmas with my dad, you know, that kind of thing. But it's because of this line here, Jaguar, protection. You see this like black, it's like shadow energy. And like, see the way it's looking. It's like you have to approach someone who's carrying this energy. It's like, because, right, because they're the council, right? It's like, I'm seeing it like this is them. Like, this is them, and they can give you wise counsel. Maybe it's like a Dragon's Den type situation. If this is like business advice, you know, that TV show Dragon's Den, where, you know, it would be intimidating, the dragons, right? The business dragons. So it's like you have to walk out in front of this panel of people and ask them for business advice, or like you have to go to this specific family member's home and like ask them for their counsel. Kind of like, I was getting Godfather for a while. It's kind of like you need to go and ask the Godfather, right? It's like, it's scary, but it's also protection. It's guardians of the land, protection, Jaguar. But they can give you very good advice. Like, they can point you in the right direction. They're the map shifter, is what I want to say. They can point you in the right direction. And they're not... Again, like, Cancer had this thing about this kind of, it was like this crow, so this idea of like the black energy. It's coming through with this idea of, I get these running themes through my readings. It was coming through with the idea of like seeing somebody as an enemy, right? Seeing somebody as, maybe it's even like that person doesn't like me, or they're really icy to me, they intimidate me, they're not my friend, right? But it's like, on closer inspection, it's like that's just the surface, that's just their protection, or something like that. It's like they're icy because it's making me think of these TikTok videos, or like I think like YouTube Shorts. I think I originally saw them on, where it's like men, and the men kind of like stick the hand out. So they'll be in the city, right? They'll just be in a busy city, and they'll stick the hand out to people and say, hey, how's it going? Or like, you're all right, shake my hand, like shake my hand. And like, the way that the premise of the video is set up, it'll show all the guys kind of like, so it's a guy, right? It's a man, and he'll put his hand out and go, shake my hand. And it'll show all the, like, the guys that are passing, will be like, yeah, bro, like shaking his hand. And it'll show women, and women will just blank them. Like, they will like act like they've not heard, or they'll just kind of move away. Like, very rarely do the women shake their hands. And it's because it's intimidating, because you're taught as a woman in society to have that icy wall up, because the second you put it down and smile at someone or interact with a man, it's like sometimes they take it as not every single man. I'm not making this a man versus women thing. I'm saying that the way women and men navigate society, generally speaking, is quite different. So the premise of these videos was kind of like, oh, women are so snobby, women are like, you know, men are friendly, like women are kind of like standoffish and aloof. And I'm like, yeah, because they have to be, to protect themselves. Because I know as a woman, right, I've been out, and you know, the amount of times, like, you go to a bar and you smile at a guy, and then he comes over and he talks to you, you're like, I was just being friendly, I was just smiling to be polite, but now you're here talking to me and you're not going to leave me alone all night. Great, you know, it wasn't an invite. I'm not looking to F you, you know, like, F off maybe. But then you don't want to be rude as well, right? Because sometimes if you kind of like, oh, I'm just here with my friends, like, if you kind of like shoot men down, if you kind of say like, I'm not interested, they get butthurt about it and then they get aggressive. So, you know, it's like you don't want to, and again, not every single man, like, and that's not what I'm saying here. But because you do have these experiences, you run into these guys who, you know, you give them an inch, they take a mile. You give them a smile, they think they're quid's in kind of thing. You learn not to smile at them, right? You learn to look the other way and not catch their eye, and blank them if they talk to you, because if you're icy, they're less likely to approach you, they're less likely to bother you in the first place. It's like you don't want to engage in conversation. So it could be something like that, like this person, whoever this is for you, that I want to say you have to approach, and they're intimidating. It's like they're glaring at you, right? The back's turned, they're glaring at you, and they're just giving you like don't talk to me vibes. I want to say it's because of their own protection, like self-protection. But at the same time, it feels like they can protect you, right? They can give you advice. So you also have taming the wind here as well, which again is giving me this impression of like you want to go to this energy and tame it, right? Because it's coming across as like quite wild. You know, it's dragons and jaguars and stags. So it's coming through like because Leo had Rhiannon, and it's like, have you ever seen a woman taken by the wind? It's like, and she was the queen of air, right? It's like she was the wind. She had the ability to turn into the wind, right? So which just is talking to me about somebody who's very free, perhaps somebody who's unmarried, right? Perhaps because they've divorced. It's like they're divorced, they don't want to marry again. So the idea of like, it's almost like the taming of the shrew, right? And it is coming through with shrew energy, which sounds derogatory, but I will explain as we move along. So it's like I need to go and approach this energy. I need to go and it's because you need their counsel, right? You need to, this is the thing, they're all white on the inside, like they're scary on the outside because of their protection, right? Because they've got the barriers up, but on the inside they're like a fucking angel, which was what was coming through in Cancer's reading. It was like, no, this is mistaken identity. You've got this person all wrong, like you've read them wrong. And like with Grace as well, wise woman of the grove, and Grace, I do feel like it's an older woman. It's like, actually, when you approach, she's going to be very graceful. She is actually going to be very willing to help you and point you in the right direction, or give you the thing that you're asking for. Because I'm seeing like here, right, it's kind of like the you see like the red, it like, sorry, spawn it. The red, it does look like dragons, like glowing dragon eyes, but it's kind of like when you go and knock on the door and say, hi, I need this object, or can you point me in the right direction? Can you show me where to find this? It's like you actually find that she's very graceful and generous in kind of saying, yeah, let me lead you right to it. I'll shine a light on that for you. Or I'll at least point you in the right direction, because then it comes with north, right? Expansion north. So it's like she does redirect you. She does point your compass in the right direction, or give you that advice you need to redirect. And I want to say, when this happens, things speed up, because you have movement here, right? But it's kind of like, it feels like slow movement. There's like a lot of mud. There's a lot of there's the knowing that you need to move, that you need to redirect, but this feeling of kind of like, but I don't really see how or which direction. And so as soon as like she points out as soon as she kind of like points the arrow in the right direction towards the north, whatever that means for you, like there's a lot of movement and speed, like because it's movement and speed, right? It's like things pick up, you move very, very quickly. It kind of reminds me, Gemini had this card, it was kind of like, I'll be there in a sec, right? It's kind of like, I'll be right there. Like, now that I know where I need to go, I'll be right there. It's almost like a treasure hunt. Maybe you're doing like a treasure hunt, like maybe with like some kids or something, like maybe this is like a school thing. It's kind of like, I keep saying it's kind of like, it's kind of like, I annoy myself when I hear myself repeating words. So it's got the feeling of trying to read a map, having a compass, being like, okay, we need to find the buried treasure. It's like a scouts thing or something. Or even like, you know, sometimes like hen do's and stag do's kind of have like fun games. So it's kind of like, I keep saying it, I'm so sorry, it's really annoying. So like, you know, you have to go and it's maybe like going back to the person who organized it, right? But you feel stupid. Can you point me in the right direction? I'm stuck. So I know that something's changed. I know that maybe it's like an escape room as well, you know, like an escape room, sometimes you get stuck, and the people who are running it will kind of like give you a clue, because it's like you need the key, or you've got the key and you know you have to put, it's like you need to do the combination, but you don't know what the combination is, so you need to go and ask this one. So like I say, as soon as this unlocks for you, as soon as you know what to do, as soon as you're pointed in the right direction, it's quick movement. But then you have, what's really funny to me, it's funny that you're going north, right? You have, your movement is north and you're getting all this snow. I literally saw Christmas trees and like snow for you. And then you've got like the snow on this card, this dragon's lair, which is all ice. And then even down here on the bottom, you've got this wolf energy, right, with this like snowy landscape. And this card talks about, because it's Norse mythology, it talks about Fenrir. Fenrir is the wolf, right? And here's a wolf, and it does mention Fenrir. It's not Fenrir, the story on this card, but it kind of mentions it. So it's funny that that mentioned it, and then that was there. And then cycles and chaos. So this feels similar to Leo's reading, because Leo's reading had this whole feeling of like, not an apocalypse, but the idea of kind of like food resources running low, or the environment changing and becoming non-viable, right? Or resources running out or something like that. So they had this real kind of almost like save the planet kind of mindset in their reading, and it did talk about cycles, and it was saying don't worry, trust nature, trust the seasons, trust the cycles, things will grow again. And you seem to have the same message, like it's going to be okay, we're going to make it through this, it's not the apocalypse, but there's going to be this feeling of chaos. It's funny because Leo's reading had these buffaloes, right? It's kind of like, it felt like a crowd surge to me, you know, like a gold rush or crowd surge. It's like everybody runs in the same direction, and it was like, yeah, but you don't want to get caught up in that, right? It's dangerous. So it's kind of like they were getting like go in a different direction. But this card here, Jormungand, this big snake, basically, it is symbolic of balance and stability. And the reason why is that the legend said that when this snake kind of was so big, it circled like the whole world, and had its own tail in its mouth. And while the snake held its own tail, there was balance and stability. So it's really coming in again with that Libra energy. But when the snake let go of its own tail, the apocalypse happened. It was like the end of days. And then you have this harpy energy, chaos. Now, at first, I thought it was kind of like almost like, hang on. Okay, so it's actually looking to me. So while at first it seemed like release the flying monkeys, you know, like, you know, the snake lets go of its tail and chaos happens, you know, it could be, I am getting this feeling like there's something there's going to be something that happens that freaks everybody out collectively. Like it's going to be something on the news, and like, you know, people panic, there's riots, you know, that kind of thing, or like people are out in the streets. It's got this feeling of like a collective panic. So I do think this is something that's coming up for us, but I want to say a lot of the time, like, media over sensationalizes things and makes things out to be, I mean, it overplays stories and underplays stories. And with this, I'm getting kind of like a fear mongering energy where it's not going to be as bad as people think it's going to be, or it's not going to affect as many people as it seems like it will, kind of thing. So it's kind of feeling like there's going to be this moment where everybody kind of panics and runs, but it's not, I don't know, because I keep getting things like you're safe, you're going to be okay, kind of thing. So I get this idea of like you're the chosen ones, I don't know. So the harpy, the chaos harpy, actually I'm suspecting might be because Queen of Swords, right? Libra energy, Queen of Swords, in the upright, she's honest, she's a truth speaker, she says it like it is, you know, but she has integrity and things like that. However, sometimes, especially when Queen of Swords goes in the reverse, you know, this tongue can be used as a weapon. This is like, I will shoot you down with my tongue. Like the pen is mightier than the sword energy. So it could be like, you know, like a journalist who speaks out against corruption. You know, they can be very, very scathing. So because it's Harpy, let me just tell you this, what it says about this energy. So this one first then. There is a time for everything. You don't always have to be striving and making things happen. Connect with the seasons and flow with them. Advice, Virgos, you don't always have to be striving and making things happen. I mean, I was like that yesterday. I was like, I'm not doing what I should be doing. I'd done loads of stuff, but I was beating myself up about the things I hadn't done. And it was like, it's okay. If you're tired, you're tired. Like, you're allowed to rest. I've got Virgo rising. I thought I was Leo rising for ages, and it turned out it was Virgo rising. So, and then anyway, chaos. The situation was, I don't know, I was using my Virgo rising as an excuse to like get in my ego and buy myself nice clothes and pretend I was a lion. And I'm a bit sad that I'm not Leo rising. Like, okay, I'll be the virgin then. Fine. I'll behave. And like, I wish I had a little bit more Virgo in my chart and I could actually be organized for a change. Okay, Harpy. The situation will evolve very quickly. Remove yourselves from the influence of chaotic people and situations. Stand firm. Justice is being sought actively and may well be found. Organizing influences must be found to turn chaos into an advantage. Do not be hungry for the wrong things. In today's lexicon, we only hear about the word harpy as a derogatory term for a shrill and unpleasant woman. Women who are outspoken and who work within patriarchal systems often get the term thrown their way, and it references a screeching and thoroughly ugly and unpleasant creature of the ancient Greek and Roman worlds. So it's saying that, you know, it's kind of like little girls should be seen and not heard, right? So when you get a Queen of Swords in the mix who is very outspoken and she stands firm in her integrity, right? She stands firm in what she knows to be the truth. So this is why Libra energy and Queen of Swords energy is also like the Justice card. Like the Queen of Swords can be a lawyer or a legal advisor. Like they work with honesty and facts and truth and integrity, and they believe in the justice system and things like this. So the way it's coming through is like when the snake lets go of its own tail and chaos happens and you have this kind of moment of like, is this the apocalypse? It's like Daenerys is on your fecking side, right? Daenerys, you'll be glad Daenerys is on your side because she can fight the injustice. She can, she will call out the corruption. And like, yeah, the patriarchy might not like it, but she knows what she's doing, right? It's kind of like, nothing than a woman scorned, like hell something than a woman scorned, right? It's like you don't want to provoke that energy because you will get a tongue lashing. And that's why people make fun of it, because people make fun of the things that scare them. Men make fun of the women that make them feel less powerful, and the women who are outspoken and confident, they're going to get ridiculed the most because like the patriarchy doesn't like it. And again, I'm saying not all men, that's like, I mean, like there's some great guys out. I know some great guys. There's some great guys. But there's also some massive dickheads, and they're the ones who, it's like they will get called out by that energy. Like they will regret things basically, because again, it's the energy of protection. So harpies especially do, they are unleashed for a reason, right? They are these scary bird women, and they are used as a way of punishing bad people. They are actually also associated with famine and spoiling of food. Again, that message of kind of like food spoiling or famine or scarcity of resources is coming through. But again, it's kind of almost, I don't want to say what I was going to say next. Anyhow, getting back to the nice stuff. So the Fenrir energy, the wolf energy, which again says authenticity, You want to be telling the truth in whatever's coming. You want to be one of those people with the veritas, right? You want to have integrity. This is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. Will Smith's a Virgo, just FYI. No, I don't know if he's a Virgo. I think he's a Libra, but he's got Virgo in Mars, which is why he got really angry when people called out his wife. He's protecting her in a bad way. Okay, wolf energy. So this is a story about I think it's a goddess and a god. I think it's like I don't know if it's Icelandic mythology, but they live in different environments, and they have to. So this card comes out sometimes when there could be a relationship that's like long distance. So it could be that people live in different countries, and you only get like visas for like 6 months. So it's like you have to spend 6 months in one country, 6 months in the other country if you want to be together. So just throwing that out there. And again, wolves indicate family. And then you've got all this gorgeous energy down here as well. Like, oh my God, commitment. Commitment. I didn't see that because it was underneath come together and commitment. I told you, somebody's getting married, right? Somebody's getting married, somebody's getting engaged and moving towards that family, like stable family life energy. With Garden of Venus as well, rest and renewal, rest and replenish, Virgos. Like, now is the time. So if there's somewhere for you that represents like healing, like a spa, or a retreat, or somewhere, a place that symbolizes connectivity, family, friends, rest, comfort, happiness, hallmark energy, wholesome hallmark energy, like, I would encourage you to move towards that. That's what I'm directing you as a Libra. That's what I'm directing you towards, right? Go and get your cabin. Go and get your cabin. Go and chop down your own Christmas tree. It's cute. Go and do it. Kids will love it. go bobsleigh. Go sledging. It's going to be great. All right, I'm going to go because my kids want in a cup of tea, and I hope this reading was helpful to you. Again, don't worry about what that is, because I feel like if you've been acting in integrity, you don't have anything to worry about. But if you've been acting, it's like, now's the time, right? If you've been a bit of a scoundrel, Virgos, if you've gone down a bit of a slippery road, now's the time to get back to integrity, because you don't want to be one of the ones who's not seen as veritas when this energy comes around, right? You're going to want this energy to be like, you're okay. You don't want this one like pooing on your food. So I'm gonna go, that's what they do. There's a myth about that. The bird women, they poo on his food. I'm gonna go. Take care of yourselves. I hope this was helpful to you. I will see you again soon. Bye, friends. Oh no, Virgos, I'm back because I forgot to do you a song. Let's get you a song to clarify whatever's going on in this reading. Can I get a song, please, to clarify for Virgo? I'm just screenshotting puppy on a string. Maybe you're going to get a puppy and not have a lead, so you're going to have to put a bit of string around his neck. Or maybe you're going to give like a kid a puppy for Christmas in a little box with a little ribbon around its neck. That'll be so cute. Okay, Virgos. I will never let you down. That is such a Virgo sentence. I will never let you down. When you say you've had enough and you might just give it up, I will never let you down. When you're feeling low on love, I'll be what you're dreaming of. I'll never let you down. When you say you've had enough and you might just give it up, I'll never let you down. Yeah, so it repeats. Tell me, baby, what are we going to do? I'll make it easy, got a lot to lose. Watch the sunlight coming through, open the window, let it shine on you. There's a million ways to go. Don't be embarrassed if you lose control. On the rooftop, now you know. Your body's frozen and you lost your soul. The idea of freezing, I don't know. I will never let you down. When you say you've had enough, I will never let you down. There's a million ways to go. Don't be embarrassed if you lose control. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that there. A million ways to go, right? So I don't know which way to move. Show me which way. I'm a Libra, I'm indecisive. I can tell you what to do, but I don't know what I'm doing myself. All right, I'm gonna go. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye, friends.